people are facing at work and in life. The weird, the wonderful, and the way too familiar. Each week, we pick one listener dilemma and try to make sense of it with care, curiosity, and no corporate nonsense. Let's get into it. Okay, we are back again for dilemmas. Right, here's the subject line. Am I the problem? Because I know she is. I already love this.
I love this already.
Love this.
Hit me.
Okay, so hi Dulcie, hi MEC. I've been meaning to write in, but I finally hit my limit this week. So hi. First of all, I have to say thank you for the podcast. I really appreciate how you bring real talk and reassurance. So here's my dilemma. I work at a small startup with a big mission and a lot of pressure. I'm one of 2 people on the comms team. The other is my colleague. Let's call her Sasha. We're the same level, started within a month of each other, and technically co-lead the function. But lately it feels like I'm dragging a giant ego around behind me. Sasha constantly takes credit for work we've done together, talks over me in meetings.
Oh, hell no.
And somehow manages to own every project, even the ones I brought in and led from the start. It's subtle but consistent. She's also super confident, loud if I'm being honest, and I found myself getting quieter and smaller in response, which I hate. Here's the kicker. When I brought it up to my manager, she sort of blinked and said, "Oh, that's just Sasha. You know she's got a strong personality." Then she added, "I get that it's frustrating, but it's probably not worth making a big deal out of it. Let's just focus on keeping things positive within the team." I left the meeting feeling completely gaslit, like I'd been told to manage my feelings while Sasha steamrolls everything in sight. I didn't imagine being interrupted or watching my ideas get repackaged like someone else's leftovers. So, what do? I don't want to become that person who complains about their colleague all the time, but I'm not sure how much longer I can swallow it without losing it or disappearing altogether. Thanks for any wisdom you can throw my way, Natalie. Not her real name, by the way.
Oh, I think, Natalie, first of all, you know, we have been there at some point. Your experience is not one that hasn't been felt by yours truly. So you're not alone there. Here's the thing. Sasha can be whatever she wants to be. That's her prerogative, right? It's her prerogative to do all those things that she's doing to you. The question I have for you, Natalie, is what are you going to do about it? Because you said something. You said, in response to all those things that you did, you found yourself becoming smaller and quieter, which you hate. So if you hate being smaller and quieter, why are you being smaller and quieter, Sasha? Natalie, why? Ask yourself those kind of important questions. How do I choose to react? Because I think part of it was you became smaller and quieter, maybe, and this is not me coming for you. Remember, I've been where you are. You made yourself smaller and quieter as an act of rebellion or resentment, or you wanted to make yourself look more like a victim. So that when you went to meet your manager, you look more like a victim rather than somebody who's actually taking ownership of how she's feeling about the situation. That's just my thing. But one thing I've had to learn, Natalie, is that people are going to be people. And the only person you can control in these kind of situations is yourself. You've done the right thing by going to a manager to express how you felt about the situation. But given that there's no help coming from that direction, what are you going to do about it, Sasha? Oh, Sasha. I keep calling her Sasha.
You see, even now, Sasha is taking over.
Do you see? Like, do not let Sasha, overwrite you. Own your own narrative. Nobody is holding your fingers. You can type on a keyboard and talk about the work that you have done. You don't need Sasha's permission to do that. You don't need anybody's permission to talk about. And even if they have kept the whole of the office Slack or the company Slack, you have LinkedIn, girl. If there's anything you can talk about, any projects that you're proud of, hop your little self over to LinkedIn and talk about it. Fly your own flag. If she's not going to be a decent human being, you cannot make her be a decent human being. But what you're not going to do is allow her to just run roughshod over you. You don't have to fight her, but you can stand up for yourself without having to engage her in a confrontational way. That's just my own little 2 cents.
I think there's so many different things going on here, Natalie. My take, and again, I don't know you, Natalie, I might be making some big assumptions here, but how I read the bit about in response to her confidence or her loudness, you found yourself getting quieter and smaller. I would implore you to start therapy, because it may well be that in your life, in your childhood, you have been around louder people, whether it's in your family or childhood friends, whatever, and your response to their loudness is to shrink. So that might be a persistent reaction that you have, and actually this does feel a bit deep rooted for you, the way in which you're reacting to this. So I wouldn't be surprised if you have a loud sibling and you've gone to mum and mum's like, oh, stop it, because it's giving kids, I'm not trying to invalidate your experience at all, but it is kind of almost that sibling rivalry type thing, and I'm going to tell mum, but mum doesn't give a shit because she's knackered.
Basically, yes.
Basically, this is what you see. This is a nonsense about work being a family. But in all fairness and in all honesty, I would absolutely advise that you seek out therapy just to try and unpack how you're reacting to this type of situation. Because if it's showing up like this here, if you're shrinking in response to someone else's volume, it's happening here, I dare say it's probably happened or is happening in other parts of your life as well. So it's probably something you want to work with a professional to understand and course correct. But then again, thinking about this situation specifically with Sasha, I really agree with Yemi. Don't let her take everything from you. Think strategically. So you said that she somehow manages to own every project, even the ones that you've brought in and led from the start. She doesn't somehow do it. You know exactly how she's doing it. Not somehow. Is she a witch? No. How is she doing it? Look, and if you really are like, I don't know, how is she doing it? Make notes. Right. Sasha talks about it in team meetings. Sasha puts things on Slack or on Teams about it. Sasha, and you start doing it, and you do it first. Okay. It's exactly what Yemi just said to you. Own your stuff. Own your brilliance. Take credit for the work you've done. Don't expect other people. You expect Sasha to say, oh, me and Natalie did this thing. Why would she? That's obviously not her nature. And, your manager says something like, oh, Sasha. So let them know you too, Natalie. Let them know who you are. You're someone who owns what you do. You talk about what you do. You publicize what you do. I think that's a great point, that even if you feel like you can't do it on your whatever platform, Slack, Teams, whatever, jump on LinkedIn. I think that's a fantastic piece of advice, of get on there and tell it to the world.
See, I've seen people that are super quiet in meetings and on projects and stuff. When that project wraps, they're on LinkedIn talking about it. And like, this person, they have realized that they have a brand outside of that company, and they want to work on it strategically. And so, play chess, not checkers.
Exactly. And this might all sound a bit intimidating. You probably have worked yourself into a place where you think, as well as everything that Sasha is doing, you might assume that people think less of you, or that you are nobody. Don't allow those fears to stop you from starting to take ownership. Because look, time is going to pass. So in the next, month, you can continue to shrink and allow Sasha to take credit for the great work that you're doing. Or in that very same period of time, which will pass no matter what, you can start doing the work of owning your own stuff. Absolutely. And actually, in doing that, you are setting boundaries. And I actually think you should talk to Sasha. I don't think there's any value in saying, Sasha, why do you keep taking credit for where you're working? Don't bother. Don't waste your time doing any of that stuff. But if you're starting a project with her, do a pre-project meeting and say, okay, Sasha, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what you're doing. Not to tell her what she can and can't talk about, because you can't stop her talking about things, but to be super clear about what work we're doing, then communicate that to others from the beginning. You cannot communicate enough. Take the lead on communicating. This is what I've done. This is what Sasha's doing. You don't have to be like her. Don't take credit for what you didn't do. Acknowledge that I've done this, Sasha's doing this, so-and-so is doing that. Like set a new standard for communication and ownership of your work.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dulcie.
Yeah, you can do that. So if it's not a case of you're trying to beat Sasha at her game, that's not the kind of person you are. So from what you're saying here, you want people to be fair, right? So you can do that. And actually, I think it starts to make Sasha look like the kind of person she is, right? And here's Natalie, and actually she's far more magnanimous and fair and shares the credit where it's due and all that sort of stuff.
You just took the words out of my mouth. Show Sasha how it's done.
Absolutely.
Right? When you talk about your work, you'll do it the way that aligns with your values. You will share the credit. Basically, how you wish she would do it, you do it.
You do
it how you would wish her to do it for you.
Yeah.
And
you said that you people are on the same level. You started around the same time. You co-lead the function, but you need to start behaving like a co-leader. Because what Sasha... Okay, let me be so honest with you about what Sasha's doing.
She's setting herself up to be your manager.
That is what Sasha's doing. It's not personal. Sasha is ambitious.
Yes,
and she wants is. So she's like, okay, well, if it's between you and me, it's going to be me.
Yeah.
Okay? So you have to honestly make a
decision.
Decide what are you going to do and how are you going to do it. And make that decision for yourself. But please don't internalize this. Don't overthink what it means, because other people, even Sasha, honestly, they're not thinking about you.
No.
Okay,
she's thinking about herself.
She's thinking about herself. So you two have
think about yourself too.
Yeah. Okay. You have got what it takes. You're doing good work. You are capable. There is one thing I would say though, and I don't know the full hierarchy and this, your manager who she reports into. I am actually very disappointed and concerned about your manager.
Yes, her response.
I think her response is particularly weak,
problematic, and I maybe she's friends with Sasha.
Maybe she is intimidated by Sasha. Maybe she's too overwhelmed with whatever's on her own plate. She really doesn't have time.
There's so many reasons.
No, there's so many reasons, none of which are any
excuses
to worry about. But I would just advise to make notes. So make notes of everything that's going on. Document these behaviors. Look at any patterns, document conversations you're having with your line manager and her response to things. It's always I think when you find yourself in these tricky spots, it's always a good idea to document. You might not need it at any point, but should things take a turn for the worse, you might want to have some documentation as to what you've been experiencing. But before it gets to that point, I think have a go at owning your brilliance, setting a new standard for what communication and fairness look like, setting boundaries. We've talked about boundaries not too long ago on the main podcast. Setting them, enforcing them, maintaining them, remembering that it's not a one and done thing. You're going to have to choose to do this again and again and again. And there's something else we've talked about, the spotlight effect, where we think that everybody is so focused about what we're doing good and bad, when the reality is nobody cares. Please don't forget that no one really, really cares. All that matters to you, all that ought to matter to you, is you in the situation.
Yes.
So you go ahead, take ownership, and I hope that things get better for you.
Yes, and remember, don't conflate, how visible you are at work to the value that you bring. You bring a ton of value already. That's why Sasha is still, taking credit for your work.
Yeah.
If your work wasn't good, she wouldn't take credit for it. So clearly you bring value. Own that as well. Don't allow what you feel may be other people's perceptions of you color the way you see yourself.
Absolutely. I think that's such a great point, right? You have proof positive that you're good because someone's stealing
your work.
So that's all you need to know about how good you are. Just hold on to that. That is really strong evidence. It's frustrating evidence, but it's evidence nonetheless. So yeah, that's a really, really, really good point. And just good luck. Good luck,
Natalie.
Take good care of yourself. Consider therapy, because my spider senses tell me that there might be this is triggering some deeper responses in you that could be just really helpful. And, this is stuff that you will come across throughout your career. You see these sorts of things all the time. So take it almost as an opportunity to learn how to handle a thing like this. It's a learning opportunity. It's not a personal indictment of your character or your value or any of that stuff. So good luck, Natalie. Let us know how you get on. And also, you might sometimes be tempted to set Sasha up and give her bad information so she looks like a fool. But I will say, not from personal experience, don't go down that route. All right, I think that's us. Good luck, Natalie.
Good luck, Natalie. Thank you for listening in.
Oh, and of course, anyone listening who has advice, if you've been through this yourself, or if you've got any advice you'd like to give to Natalie, we're going to put this on the Workwell Instagram page. So head over there. Or if you're listening on Spotify, you can drop your advice in the comments also. So yeah, Natalie, maybe there'll be some more advice heading your way. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's Undo Dilemma. If you've got something sticky, awkward, or just plain weird happening at work or in life, send it to us at dilemma@thisisworkwell.com. You stay anonymous, we talk it out.
And if this helped, pass it on to someone who might need it too.
And don't forget, new full-length episodes of Undo land on Mondays. So wherever you are in the week, we've got you.